You've heard the term narcissist, but you probably assume it's just one personality type. The surprising truth? The official manual for mental disorders, the DSM-5, lists no subtypes of MPD. Yet, clinicians on the front lines have identified multiple, distinct flavors of this disorder. You likely know the stereotype, the arrogant, attention-seeking person. That is just one piece of the puzzle. We will now break down the most critical subtypes, from the loud to the quietly destructive. First is the grandiose or overt narcissist. They have an inflated self-image, believe they are special, and openly demand admiration. On the surface, they can appear charming and confident, but their lack of empathy means relationships are purely transactional, serving their own needs. Now, meet their opposite, the vulnerable or covert narcissist. This type shatters the stereotype, hiding behind anxiety and inadequacy. They crave admiration just as much as the grandiose type, but seek it indirectly through passive aggression, guilt, or feigned modesty. So, we have two core expressions. One wears their entitlement openly, the other hides it in resentment. But what is the one thing driving them both? Why are there so many versions of this disorder? The answer is their desperate search for something called narcissistic supply. This supply is the psychological fuel they need: admiration, attention, and control. In a moment, you'll see how this creates very different narcissists. For example, the somatic narcissist gets supply from their physical appearance, obsessing over their looks and judging others harshly. By contrast, the cerebral narcissist gets supply from being seen as the smartest person, using their intellect to belittle others. Some of the most confusing subtypes are those who hide their self-obsession behind a mask of virtue. This is where it gets difficult to spot. Meet the communal narcissist. They get supply from being seen as the most selfless person, but their giving is entirely for public praise. Similarly, the spiritual narcissist uses their faith as a weapon. They present as enlightened to judge, manipulate, and control others. So you see, narcissism can disguise itself as charity, intellect, or piety. But what happens when it mixes with more menacing traits? This brings us to the most dangerous type, the malignant narcissist. This is a hybrid of narcissism and antisocial personality disorder. They possess the grandiosity, but also paranoia and a sadistic joy in others' suffering. They are calculating, cruel, and profoundly lack remorse. A step down in severity is the antagonistic narcissist. They are defined by rivalry, viewing everyone as a competitor to be defeated. Then there's the entitled narcissist. They genuinely believe they deserve special treatment and that the rules simply don't apply to them. Not all forms are malicious. The benign narcissist is more clueless than cruel, with behavior that is clumsy and self-absorbed. Finally, some researchers even describe adaptive narcissism, where traits like high self-confidence and ambition can actually be beneficial. We've gone from arrogant to insecure, from saintly to sadistic. How do we make sense of all these different faces? Let's bring it all together. Remember the question of what unites them? It's the relentless pursuit of narcissistic supply. The underlying engine is always the same, and the grandiose and vulnerable types we started with, they aren't always separate. Some people swing between outward arrogance and inner insecurity. This is why some clinicians classify narcissism not by type, but by severity, high, middle, and low functioning, to gauge the level of impairment. This brings us back to the DSM-5. These models exist because the single NPD diagnosis can't capture the huge difference between a benign and malignant type. Understanding these distinctions isn't just academic. It's vital for navigating relationships and protecting your well-being. So what is the takeaway? The key lesson is that narcissism is not one size fits all. It exists on a wide spectrum, from clumsy self-absorption to calculated malice. Keep in mind the key faces: the arrogant grandiose, the insecure vulnerable, the deceptive communal, and the dangerous malignant. This knowledge is a tool that empowers you to identify harmful behaviors, even when they are disguised as kindness or vulnerability. A final note: only a qualified mental health professional can diagnose NPD. This video is for educational purposes to help you understand behaviors. If you found this breakdown helpful, share it with someone who might benefit. Comment below with your thoughts, and subscribe for more insights.